Right, and I love Jamie Foxx, but I loved him even more after I listened to his interview.
Jamie, that could have been one of the greatest episodes of all time. I mean, that was up there in the
So I
top
listened
3.
to that and something else that was not an interview, but some like he was just talking about like what was like motivation or changing your lifestyle or something. It was like something like that, something weird.
Yeah, that Jamie Foxx one was one of the like top 3 podcasts of the year for all podcasts. Like it was.
Yeah, and I really like him, but it made me like him so much more.
Yeah, I agree. Yep, there it is. That's the Tim Ferriss show, and he's the author of the 4-hour something.
4-hour work week and the 4-hour exercise or 4-hour gym workout, something like that.
Yeah, his background's cool. Went to Princeton University. Did you know that?
Yes, I did because he talked about that.
Yeah, yes, he does. So, really cool dude. I don't want this to turn into a Tim Ferriss love show, but really cool. If you guys listen to podcasts and you listen to Outside of Education, that should be one of the top ones on your list.
You should check it out, Chris. I think you would really like him.
Okie dokie. I will add it in.
In fact, I think Jeff Sanders talks about him.
Am I taking up AJ's spot? I'm going to bounce. Just want to say hi.
No, you can stay. Stay.
Why? What's AJ doing? Am I taking up a Justice League spot?
He's probably watching The Walking Dead or a game or...
Not the Yankees got rained out today, so they are not playing right now.
Is it raining?
It's raining in Detroit.
I'm not in Detroit. I'm in New Jersey.
West Windsor? Is that where you live? Do you live in West Windsor?
No, I live in Chesterfield. I work in West Windsor.
You're right around the corner from me. I told
Where do you live?
I live in Hamilton, but I work in Springfield.
Which one?
Yeah, I was going to say which Springfield.
The one right by you, not the one in North Jersey, not the one of 150 of them in the United States.
I had no idea you lived in Springfield out here.
Yeah, that's where I work. I was actually calling ladies bingo last night. It was great.
Now you have to move, Stacey.
Yeah, right. Now that I know.
Cool. We'll have to meet at the Starbucks and have coffee or something.
There you go. Yeah, I like Chesterfield. It's nice out there. I've said the Chesterfield in a couple times. All right, listen, I feel bad. Yeah. I'm taking over your stuff. Want to say hello? I'll still be chiming in.
Nice. You're always welcome, Justin. Friend of the program.
Thanks.
Anytime, Justin.
How you feeling, pal?
I have a couple of bruises. I'm a little tired. But other than that, I'm fine.
Okay. Good to hear. Good to hear. Take care of yourself first. So happy birthday.
Yeah, I'll send pictures tomorrow. Thanks. I can't believe it. Like, I'm thinking about it, and it's weird because, you know, the official anniversary is on Tuesday. But, like, this time a year ago, well, last week a year ago, there was some big push for me to start this just based on a blog post. And it's kind of crazy how it all comes full circle. And I blame Jen Williams on a lot of that and a couple other people. But yeah, you and AJ have been with me this entire time, and I totally appreciate that.
You're, as I've been saying numerous times in the last 52 weeks, you're my podcast PD compañera.
I like how you called me out on being like our scaredy cat leader.
Yeah. Well, without you, we wouldn't have great things like this.
Somebody would have thought of it. I mean, they have podcast EDU. So
does the music come through or no?
What music?
Okay, hold on.
Hey, AJ.
Hello.
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 Hello. Oh, let's see.
Did you guys hear that or no? Or do I not know what I'm doing?
Not really.
Ooh.
Greg Owens wants to know why he should switch from GHO to Blab.
Well, Greg, why don't you click call in and we could talk about that. Hear a nice echo. Hold on. It's probably my fault.
It's always your fault.
It always is.
It is always your fault.
You know what?
Peggy George, how are you?
It might not be. Am I causing an echo?
I don't hear.
I don't hear it.
Okay. Oh, it's Justin. Why are we listening to him?
He said it's all good now.
Oh, okay. So happy birthday to you as well, AJ. We've
Yes,
been doing this for
happy
a year.
Birthday, Chris and AJ.
Happy birthday. 1 year old.
1 year old.
Stacy's baby is 1.
Aww.
My baby is 1. I went to a baby shower today, so it's kind of cool.
It all works together.
It all goes together.
Now
That baby will come in May, though.
Now we can start. Oh, no, I guess we're still on the liquid diet here on Sunday nights. There we go.
I need to move away from the liquid diet, trust me.
What do you have tonight?
Just a Sam Adams Rebel Rouser double IPA.
Ooh.
Fancy stuff.
So in the spirit of the fact that I haven't released anything we've done audio or video wise in some time, I think since like November. So I'm recording this. It will get released as something.
Okay.
So I do want to put in, I have 2 podcast recommendations that I would like to share with you guys. And actually one, I'm not even going to take complete credit for, because I got the recommendation from somebody else who reaffirmed that I should subscribe to a show before I subscribe to it. So I'll explain. So the first one is Criminal from Radiotopia. I think I've talked about that to you guys, not publicly. It's like
I don't think so.
Okay. This show is like Serial, except they only put out a show every few weeks, or they're kind of on a monthly schedule. 1 episode, about a half hour. And in that half hour, they go in depth into some type of aspect of a criminal case in a half hour.
Was it a random case?
Yeah, they cover all sorts of things. The official description reads as follows. Criminal is a podcast about crime, not so much the if it bleeds, it leads kind of crime, something a little more complex. Stories of people who've done wrong, been wronged, and or gotten caught somewhere in the middle. So they're pretty interesting cases. And I pulled a Stacey because I only subscribed to this about 6 weeks ago. And I went all the way back to the beginning to you don't have to listen to them in order, but I wanted to listen to each episode in their back catalog.
Huh.
And it's worthy of a back catalog?
It is worthy. They only have, I think, 36 or 37 episodes.
Okay.
But they're all really good. The woman is a good storyteller. Well, reporting on truth and everything. So that is Criminal, and you can find that at thisiscriminal.com.
So I'm going to be really lazy and ask you to box that to me later. Is that okay?
No problem. And then the second one is a new podcast that is about 2 weeks old. Another, I guess, big-time podcast from NPR called Embedded. And this is the one.
I heard about that one.
Danny talked to me about it the other day. And she was like, oh, have you heard of this new one? And I said, I haven't subscribed to it yet. So she said, you have to. So she made me do it like right there. So I subscribed. And this one is hosted by Kelly McEvers. And I'm just going to read the description, so I'm not making this up. Embedded takes a story from the news and goes deep. What does it feel like for a father in El Salvador to lie to his daughter about the bodies he saw in the street that day? What does it feel like for a nurse from a rural Indiana town to shoot up a powerful prescription opioid? What does it feel like to survive a shootout with the most notorious biker gang in Texas? You may have seen headlines about these stories. Embedded takes you to where they're happening.
Right. So did they mention that on Hidden Brain? I kind of feel like Shankar mentioned that.
They cross promote their new shows on the other podcast. Yeah.
Okay.
But I listened to it. The first episode is called Bikers, and it was good. I mean, it's a half-hour NPR show, and they cover it from soup to nuts in like 30 minutes. It is worthy, hence why I'm recommending it. And You can get that from, just go to npr.org or search for Embedded in your podcast catcher of choice.
Very good.
And I think Peggy yelled at me because she has said, answer the question, Chris. Don't make him call in.
I saw that. So he wants to know why Blab and not GHO.
I'm going to say Blab is very engaging. I mean, I'm talking to the two of you. We're talking to each other. We could interact with our chat, or we could not. we have the ability to record on this platform. This platform gives us the video file when we're done. It gives us the audio file, and we can do what we want with it. So anybody can come onto this platform and have a show of some sort. They could have video that you could send right to YouTube, or you have audio that you could release as a podcast through your website. And it's easy. I mean, is this a difficult site to use, guys? Give Greg your perspective as people who I dragged into this.
Unwillingly.
Fearfully.
For me, I click the link and I'm part of your show. And what's really nice is I'm able to watch other things of interest if I so choose. And I think to go back to your original question, why this Greg over GHO, I really think it depends on what your purpose is. You know, if I'm having a one-on-one conversation with somebody, I'm not going to have it here because it's too public. You know, Peggy could come in, AJ could come in, anybody could come in. But if I'm looking to broadcast something, then this is definitely a good platform for all of the reasons Chris stated. What about you, AJ? What do you think?
I didn't like it at first, but I'm kind of enjoying it now. I think it's got some good features. I like that one that you just had there, Chris. I like that you can put the other slides in there so people can kind of see what's going on. And I like the questions on the side. I think that's good. It's very, for our chat, we don't really utilize it very well because we're talking and people are asking questions on the other side, which is cool. No problem with that. But I do like that the questions pop up over there and you can put a question in an extra box if nobody called in. I like that option that you can call in, you know, and get accepted or approved and all that. So it's getting better. I didn't like it at first though.
AJ, what made it? What happened that it changed for you? That you went from not being sure about it to, all right, this is okay.
It was just very glitchy at first. I felt like there were some things just not working. I'm trying to remember back to what it was. It was a couple months ago now. Yeah, it still is. There are definitely some times where things aren't always working very well, but I think the Twitter integration is probably the coolest thing. Yeah, Justin, I don't really use it on my phone very much.
Yeah, I don't think it's as glitchy though as GHO.
I was disappointed with the app on my iPad up until the end of last week because I had gotten rid of it and I was like, you know what, let me see, maybe they updated it or something. So the icon was different and now it works well on my iPad mini.
Really?
Like it's not as stuttery. I always, even if I was in the room with my router and like the source of my Wi-Fi, it would just be choppy audio and it was not a good experience. And the other day I was not in a blab, but I had one on while I was folding some laundry and I was listening to the blab as if it was a podcast. So the audio was fine. You know, I didn't have to look at it, but I could listen and it was okay.
Yeah, I think that's one of the cool things too. I mean, if you're actually interested in being on Blab for some kind of chat or some kind of topic, or if there's something that interests you, you can actually just jump in and kind of sit back. You don't need a special invitation because there's what do they call them? I guess the stations, or what do they call them? I don't even know.
They don't really have a name. I wouldn't even say they're channels.
No, it's more like a broadcast feature. It goes out to Twitter, kind of like Periscope does, almost a notification, like, hey, this is happening, come check it out.
Yeah, I like the broadcasts. I think it's a good word for it. And the broadcasts are kind of all there, and you can find any interest that you have and sit back and listen or get involved.
And another great feature is you know who is here. So actually I can say hello to Misty Stanton, who is joining us. Haven't seen her in the chat part yet, but she has popped up on the top. So welcome to Podcast PD, the Blab version. Nice to have you here. Because you don't always know who's watching you when you're just doing a Twitter chat.
No,
and
she's not watching.
Did she leave? That's silly. Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Chris called her out.
Sorry.
She wanted to be on the private.
So Chris, do you want us to give our recommendations?
Absolutely.
Oh.
So I thank you for turning me on to this podcast when I was looking for a podcast to share with students, right? Something that was easy for them to digest, that wouldn't be so long or so such a big topic that, you know, my 4th and 5th graders couldn't get it. And you turned me on to What Should I Read Next, which I'm not even sure if it connects. I think it does to the website, What Should I Read Next, which I've used a couple of times on and off for, like, I would say forever. But the podcast is amazing. And I'm actually listening to a book. I was listening to it today when I had my little MVA. And it's just a really great, spin on what a podcast can be. Like, it's all about books, which I'm, you know me, I'm a big reader, a big audiobook person. If I'm not listening to something in the car, then something's wrong. Something's catastrophic. I'm either listening to Boxer, or I'm listening to a podcast, or I'm listening to a book, on an audiobook. And this is really nice because what the host does, and she does it really, really well, and her name is Anne Bogle. What she does is she, you know, her guests, she asks them 4 questions, you know, actually 3 questions. What books are you reading? What 3 books are your favorites? What are your 3 favorite books? What book do you hate? And what are you currently reading? And through that, she's able to then recommend other books. And what's really cool is if you identify with any of what the guest is saying, you're able to pull away from some of the things that she's recommending. So the one that I listened to, I think was episode 4, there was a book that she likened it to something that I read and adored. So now I'm reading one of her recommendations. And so that for me was really, really cool. And I love listening to audiobooks. So just knowing that they're always available on Overdrive, that was really cool too.
Do you enjoy that personally, and it's appropriate to use in the classroom?
So the episode that you shared, it wasn't inappropriate, but so far the books haven't been kid-centered, and, you know, you'll be proud of me. So while I didn't hit record on Monday, like I was supposed to, I did hit record on Friday with my kids, and their conversation was so cute. But, you know, I didn't even have to share that with them. There's actually one of my teachers. I love the teachers at my building, but one of my teachers found a podcast created by students for students, and that's really cool. Like, that is exactly what I'm looking to do, and what I am doing with my students. And so that was really cool. And she shared that with me, and it's called, I think it's Radio Web. You have to Google that, Chris. I'm sorry. And they have all kinds of topics, and that's really what my kids wanted to create. So on Friday, we created our 0.5 episode, which is what they wanted to call it. And we created our episode our episode 1 when they wanted to talk about the park.
Can you give us a better description of this student podcast that's for students? Because I'm trying to search for something.
Hold on, I'll see if I can find it in my history. AJ, what are you listening to right now?
Not much, to be honest with you. But I just got a recommendation from our chat from Michael Warren, who suggested listening to a podcast called Listen Current. It sounds pretty cool. And he was telling me they curate educational public radio stories, and it helps teachers create different resources. So I guess it's like current events kind of thing. I'm trying to find that on Overcast, as he told me. It's an NPR kind of show.
What is it called?
All right, that's me.
Listen Current.
Listen Current.
I can't find it in Overcast, so there's our first one that we've discussed. I know I'm spelling it right. You can go to listencurrent.com, and you can check out what they do there. I think it's good for the social studies curriculum because it's got the current events and all that. He's saying it kind of integrates with Google Classroom as well. So he's going to use that for some seminar stuff and discussion style. But I'm going to look into this and see what I can use with my students.
AJ, I'll throw in another recommendation.
Do it.
This one is geared directly towards you and any other sports fans, and I think I've talked to you about this before.
Yeah, this one. Yeah.
Have you checked this out yet?
No, I have not.
This guy
usually when I do my baseball stuff, I listen to ESPN, whose name is escaping me right now. I need a second. Buster Olney.
Okay.
Hosted his podcast.
You got to try this one. This is, I mean, this podcast has been going since October 12th or October 24th, 2012. The man puts out a podcast every day of the year. Awesome. And if there's a leap year, he does another one.
Yeah, that's cool.
And he's from California. The audio quality is good. Content is good. And I've been enjoying it every day in the morning. It's usually there when I get in my car so I can get, 20 minutes of baseball in.
That's good.
So it's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Sounds pretty good. I'll check that out.
Like, listening to this makes me say, hey, AJ, you and I could do a sports podcast.
Okay. Is that on the to-do list for year number 2?
Yeah, I think I need a personal passion-based podcast.
I would do baseball in a heartbeat. Or golf. Right? I want to get down with golf.
Well, I'm not going to talk about golf, but unless you want to do a segment on miniature golf or pitch and putt.
There you go.
What's this? Radio Willow Web?
Yeah, so that's what it is. And it's really cool. Like, they talk about all kinds of things that they're learning in the classroom or things that they're interested in.
Super cool Blab feature. Peggy posted.
Say what?
Peggy posted that link, and when I mouse over it, or you guys are also hosts, so if you mouse over it, you'll see pin or open.
Oh, cool.
And I clicked pin, so it brought it into the open box.
I don't have that.
Cool. Did Peggy find my thing for me?
Oh, thanks. Now that I'm a host, now I can do it.
How cool is that?
I just like that Peggy speaks Stacey and was able to find that for us. Thanks, Peggy.
Guys, I don't think it was last week, but the week before, Peggy actually typed the words. I'd like to say she uttered them, but she wasn't on camera. But she typed the fact that she's working on, she wants to come on here.
I saw that a couple
Either it was
ago.
for this or it was for Shift Ed, but...
No, it was this one. I remember.
Yeah.
I saw it.
2 witnesses, Peggy.
Especially for the birthday. You think she'd get down with this?
Can I get a witness? Ooh, props.
Come on, Peggy. You can do it.
Well, we have to close the link to let her in.
Well,
there you go. The Radio Willow Web is really cool. And the teacher who found it shared with me a bunch of templates and formats that they've created. And you can tell that it's all kid created, but Chris, you'll appreciate the sound quality and the musical intros and outros. The kids thought my students thought it was really cool. But they also made the decision that they were not including music in their intro and outro. That just wasn't their thing. Which you have to respect them for. Like, they totally have a vision for what their podcast is going to be. And they're going with it. And they're so funny. I recorded their first take on episode 0.5. And if I didn't think my phone would run out of memory, I would have recorded more because they were just so awesome.
Now, here's my question for you, Stacey, and you need to answer on behalf of your young people. Why episode 0.5? Why not start with episode number 1?
They wanted an intro, and I've seen other podcasters and shows create like an episode 0 or an episode 00, whatever. They didn't like that idea because they considered it an episode, so they wanted it to be 0.5. That was all them. It hasn't been named yet. It hasn't been formatted or edited yet. And Chris, they're so funny because I was like, well, I'll edit this. So I'll look at this over the weekend. They're like, so we have a lot of edits on Monday. Like, they're totally taking over. So I envision that I'm just going to like flip my MacBook towards them and be like, here you go, gentlemen, have fun, do what you need to do. Because we did it in GarageBand. I wanted to do something that I was comfortable with and go there. So I see that our friend is calling in. Hello there, Dan Bauer. I'm accepting your...
That's the beauty of 3 co-hosts.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, your hair's pulled back today.
Today is pulled back. I've been looking a hot mess, so you know.
Meanwhile, I've got this going on.
Yeah. So, well, no, I didn't see what you said, but yeah, for me, I don't want that going on. Chris, look at your lighting, dude. This is incredible. I mean,
I knew Dan was going to say something about that.
it's just, I don't know. It's so professional. I want to be like you.
Dan,
Yellow.
look at your ceiling. Oh, I thought that was the ceiling.
Hey, man, we could be like Lionel Richie if you want. So
That ceiling is way more.
What's going on, brother?
just happy to connect with you guys. I was on a call with a friend, just checking in on him. So, but then I know that this was going on, so I wanted to say hello and definitely be a part of this. So yeah, nothing much. Released the second podcast last week, which was pretty cool. So now I've got 2 shows out there.
Go on, explain, pimp it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Got the Better Leaders, Better Schools for school leaders, and then I have this second one called View from the Top. And in that one, I interview guys that work with Aaron Walker in his business masterminds. And so we just kind of unpack what type of business they have, what kind of value they bring to others in case they want to, hook up with them. And then we talk about what they've learned as a result of, being very intentional week after week, spending an hour with the other members and digging into tough business and tough personal questions to get better.
Where can people find that show?
I'll put a link in there. But yeah, if you just type in The View from the Top, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, any of those, Podbean, Pod Mama, Pod Daddy, any of those, it's all good. So, hey Justin, thanks for those little love things. I shouldn't call them love things. The high fives. Appreciate that, and I appreciate the encouragement.
Justin's
So what's
no
up with
joke
you guys? Yeah, he's no joke either at all.
No, he's not a slouch at all.
What's going on with me? Well, we're doing this. I'm organizing. Dan, you should have gotten an email from me as we organize the 1 year.
1 year.
There's a lot of birthdays this month.
You wearing your birthday suit?
I'll wear mine on the 27th because that's my birthday.
April
then,
27th?
April 27th.
And then the 29th is the Education Podcast Network, right?
Yeah, and the network turns 1 year old at the end of the month.
Wow, that's awesome.
As we orchestrate a big 3-hour blab that AJ will love.
Wait, what?
Whoa! Thanks for putting that together too, man. I love that we have that podcast network.
I'm proud of it.
You should be. It's really cool.
You should be. It's a nice collection of really awesome podcasts.
They're okay.
It didn't really hit me until I was presenting on Friday about
How'd that go?
podcasting. It went well. And I had a slide in there as part of my introduction. So like who I am, what my show is, and how I took podcasting to another place and started a network. So I had the big slide that had all the artwork from all the shows on the network logo. And Adam took a picture of it with me on the stage. And when I saw the picture, I was just like, holy crap. It became surreal.
Is that the one he put in Boxer for us?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, you should be really, really proud of that. That was awesome.
You know what? It's weird. As proud as I am, it still digs me the handful of podcasts that said no, that didn't want to be a part of it.
Oh, call them out.
Let's just
Wait a minute. You're going to have to tell us about that
Call them out.
later.
No,
let's smash them
right now. I want to know who it is. We don't have to listen to them ever again.
It's probably nobody you're listening to, but they are a podcast that I found value in and wanted to take to another place.
Well,
And
then
they said,
obviously not worth it if I'm not listening to them.
I expect a somewhat private box on that, maybe in the chat that we are in together.
Yes, sir.
I mean, so many people are a part of the Education Podcast Network, and then there's BAM Radio, which I don't even understand what that is, but I know they do a lot. No, I don't mean that as a dig at all. Like seriously, guys.
It
like
sounded like a dig.
No. Let me be genuine about this.
Yeah, you play volleyball? Because that was a dig.
I do. I was a setter, so, and I was awesome in the back row, so I did dig stuff all the time. Seriously, let me set the record straight, because I got Stacey, AJ. I see how you're looking at me. I just don't know what it is. I've gone to their website and I find it confusing. So that would be a critique, okay? But I see people put blog posts up there that I'm connected to through Lead Up Chat, and I see that sometimes they've done a podcast too. And I find that's awesome, and I think it's great. It amplifies their voice and adds a lot of value for education, leaders and teachers, and so that is awesome. I don't understand how you get involved, and like I said, the website's just kind of confusing. So I'm legitimately asking, can anybody explain it to me? I would like to know more. Yeah,
I sure can.
Wait, can I interrupt? Can I interrupt you for 1 second, Chris?
Yeah, go ahead, Stacey.
I think it depends on your entry point. Like, I've never gone to their website. I only find the BAM Radio podcast through my podcast catcher, and it's because someone else has recommended them to me. And I'll be honest with you, I've only ever listened to maybe 2 or 3, definitely 2, but there might be like a third one that I didn't know was part of BAM Radio.
Okay.
But I'll let Chris fill you in on the other stuff. I like them because they're short. That's the only thing that gets me.
Gotcha.
So Daniel, when I started my show, I was maybe 2.5 months into my run. So I had 6 or 7 episodes out, and they reached out to me and said, "Hey, we like what you're doing. We listened to your show. We'd love to have you be a part of this." And I was like, holy cow, BAM Radio wants me to be on their network. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Opportunity. Doors are opening. Great. Then I talked to a podcasting confidant and said, what do you think I should do? And they told me their story. And so I dug a little deeper, and sure, they wanted me. They didn't want my 45-minute to an hour-long show. They didn't want the production value. They wanted me to literally phone it in and do a 10 to 15-minute podcast and, not do my show my way. And I filed that away, and that's one of the platforms that I built my network on is I want good shows. Do your show the way you want to do it. Let's have a great time.
Okay. So they have some more criteria in terms of, like, I guess what they're looking for, and they have like more of a stronger editorial voice, it sounds like, in shaping your shows. I think what drew me to you, I don't even remember how we got connected. I think you reached out to me or I reached out to you. I don't know. You'll have to fill me in on that, because I forget. My mind doesn't work much anymore.
I reach out to people. People who reach out to me, it doesn't. It's not going to work. Gotcha.
But what I loved about our conversation was just your caring heart, your generosity, and the thing that really connected with me is that I could lead my show, right? I could do what I wanted to do. I was just going to also plug that I'm a part of this network, and there wasn't necessarily any sort of like obstacles or barriers of joining. And if we ever thought that we were moving in different directions, it was easy to, if the season changes, to make that move too. And so I just really appreciate that, because it didn't make you feel trapped in, some type of contractual or whatever. So that was a no-brainer to me. And then I found out that you messed up my iTunes, so I always pop up with that. So no, that's great. That's great.
I can also undo that at any time. No. So.
Keep it on there.
No worries.
I like.
What do you mean messed up your iTunes?
I was just being funny.
No, yeah.
I will research every now and then just to see, like, how I'm ranking and stuff, even though I drive most of the traffic to my website. So the iTunes ranking really doesn't matter at all to me. But I'll click on K-12, and I don't even know how I get there, but I'll click on my name, Better Leaders, Better Schools podcast, and it'll say Education Podcast Network, and it has all our shows there. I'm like, I never did that. Did they do it? Apple knows everything about me. They have all my data. They're reading my emails.
They do. It's like Google.
Yeah. No, it was Chris. Chris did it. So that's the only thing.
Yeah. So the Education Podcast Network is listed as a content provider.
Yeah.
So all the shows on the network appear under that. It doesn't have a fancy listing page with custom artwork. As much as I'd love that, because there is no, like, you click on education, there's no like featured provider for education. And I would love to have the network be one of those really awesome highlighted buttons or places to go in iTunes for education podcasts.
Yeah, that'd be incredible.
I think you got there.
I just got to keep reaching out to the right
and
people.
Jen Gonzalez and a couple of the other heavy hitters. I think you'll get there. Like Dan Bauer. You know, there's a lot going on in your network. There are a lot of really great shows.
Dan Bauer, who's that? He's on my network.
I don't know. Guy with crazy hair. It's like wilder than mine.
And the lighting, the semi-professional lighting.
I'm gonna know what kind of hair products you use, Dan Bauer.
Oh, hold on, I'm gonna show you. I'm not gonna like actually. Well, I'll bring you guys in the bathroom. We cleaned it today, so it's Sunday's like a cleaning day, and it is. Oh, wait. Okay.
This is the first time Podcast PD goes into the bathroom. This is awesome.
Yeah, I'm not actually going to use the bathroom. Well, you never know.
Nice tile
Hey, check
work.
it out. Look at the back, too. You know, kind of looks all right. So I use, and I'm not ashamed to admit it, look at that.
I use that.
You do, too?
For sure.
Yeah, Diva Curl. That's right.
I've been Diva for the past, like, 15 years.
I am not ashamed to admit I use Diva Curl as a man. Because with my locks, it works, and they need to sponsor my show. Let's check this out too. So besides the No Poo shampoo, do you use this Diva Curl Super Cream?
I've used that, and then I switched over to Weedad. Can you believe it?
What is that? What is it called?
Weedad, OUIDAD. I imagine Peggy George is going to have the link in a second.
I hope so.
Because she's all over our links. I love
Please,
it.
Peggy, you need to help me out with my hair.
And so Weedad has a really nice climate control gel that gives you a nice shine.
Huh. How about that?
Yeah. It's very expensive compared to Diva Curl.
Okay, I'm not going to buy it.
Yeah. But Dan Bauer, you made my day by just showing me that you were like a Diva girl all the way.
AJ, what do you use? Suave, Pert Plus? What do you got?
I use glue. It's called Got to Be. It's just straight up glue.
Do you wash your hair or you just put product in it every day?
No, I wash my hair in the shower. I don't know what I use. I use some green bottle. I think it's fruity. Jamie, what do I use in my head?
Is it like Botanica? Like
yeah, it's like fruit teas or something. It smells good.
Do you have the urge to herbal?
No. No. Shoot, I'll wash my hair with my body wash for all I care.
They make those.
As long as,
Yeah,
as
those
long,
3-in-1
as long as it
body
doesn't go away,
washes.
I'll be all right.
Wash your head, wash your armpits,
Yeah,
wash your
right?
head.
Just keep everything together.
Did your father, did he have all his hair at older age?
He's still got it.
Okay.
He's still got it.
That's who we get it from, right? Or is it our mom?
Yes.
I thought it was
Mother's
mom's
father.
dad.
Nice. Well,
What's your dad's?
Chris, how about you? What do you use?
Your mother's father? My husband says
Suave
it's your
for
mother's.
men?
Suave for
I
men.
don't know. It's in a big white bottle. It's coconut scented.
You can do Head and Shoulders like Troy Polamalu.
I love it. No poo and styling cream.
Yeah, that's I did some research and there was this man that has like crazy curly hair. I'm serious. And I'm like, what do I need to use to like kind of just make it a little more chill? And that's what they recommended. So I went with the Diva Curl. Not ashamed to admit it. Snapping in the Z formation. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh
Stacey, I bet you
God.
were a big Z snapper.
Yeah, just all over the head, bopping and everything.
So did you launch your show yet?
So we haven't published it, but we actually hit record on Friday. I was sharing that with Chris.
Cool.
And they're so funny. They're going to get me kicked out of the building and out of a job because their next pod. So this week we're park testing and next week we're park testing. So what they understand really well from the work that they've done with the school newspaper is that timeliness in their topic is really important to their audience.
Yeah.
And so they wanted to originally start with whether or not we should be one-to-one Chromebooks, which is what I do with them. And they changed it to park. So their next episode is going to be about one-to-one Chromebooks, pros or cons.
Wow.
And I was like, gosh, you're going to put me out of a job, which is fine. They don't really know that I'm going to the middle school next year, so I won't be with them anyway. But yeah, Chris, Peggy says you're looking worried. What are you worried about?
I took care of it.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
You had a super fan hop in the chat.
Oh, did I miss it?
I think so.
We're not really here to talk about your 3 a.m. activities.
Oh, well, I'm usually sleeping. It'll be great and boring. Yeah, so I'm excited for them. I just have to work on the sound quality. And I was sharing with Chris and AJ and the other people who are listening to the chat that right now they're just so funny. Like they know what they want. They don't want music. They recorded their 0.5 episode because that's what they wanted to call it. It wasn't a 0-0 show. It wasn't episode 1 because it wasn't a real episode. It was just their intro and what their podcast is going to be about.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Now, do you think they felt comfortable on using the microphone and talking, or did it come across as awkward for a 4th, 5th grader?
So the one kid was definitely more comfortable than the other, and you could get a sense of that. So we recorded the intro episode 3 times, which I think is actually an accomplishment for them. Just the fact that it didn't go past 3. That's
less times than I recorded my first episode.
Right. So that was really good. And the fact that they were going back and forth and they were reading, they wrote a script for that particular episode. They don't plan on scripting their stuff out. And what's really cool is, I'm literally just there to hit record, and I give them minor feedback. Just like, instead of saying it this way, you might want to start with like, hey, I'm Matt and I'm Jack, and we're, welcome to Podcussions, which is the name of their podcast. So it's podcast discussions. So they did what Apple did with the I in iTunes and the pod and broadcast and putting it all together, the iPad and podcast. So they're kind of doing a little bit of a mashup in a word. So it's just like minor stuff that I give to them, but they, I'm like, okay, guys, what are we going to do? They go off, they do it, and I meet with them like once or twice a week. And while I have access to their information, I haven't looked at it really. Don't tell them.
They're not watching. It's okay.
No, hopefully they're in bed because they have testing tomorrow morning too.
Starting on a Monday. That's great for kids. But that's a whole other show.
No. We started on a Tuesday after break. They know that they're coming back and they're starting math. So...
That doesn't mean it's good for them if they know about it.
They're prepared. It's not coming back after Easter break and starting on a Monday.
That's true.
They did the 3 days of ELA, and then, tomorrow through Thursday, they'll do math, which is why they want to talk about Park. They know how timely it is. So my goal is to have it ready to release, at least to our building, by Friday.
That's awesome. And where are you going to be hosting it? What's the plan? How are you going to make this listenable or accessible?
I have to look at a little bit of what Willow Web did, because I like that they have a way to listen on their website, and these kids have created their own website.
Wow.
So that to me is very intriguing. I have nothing to do with it. I haven't even looked at it yet. And they did it through Weebly, and then so I have to see how you can put the podcast player on there. But my original plan, and Chris and Dan, help me out if I'm doing this wrong, but my initial plan was just to put it in a Google folder and share it with our building. And they know that our intended audience is going to be smaller than what we want to reach by June, but that we need to start and then grow and scaffold what we're doing, as opposed to just starting in this big grandiose place. There's some learning that's involved in what we're going to do.
Well, as I've said, you can definitely host it on the Google Drive. I can share that script with you. And then you would just be able to embed an HTML5 player. But actually, this thing I just threw in here, podcastmachine.com. I just found this earlier this week. So I'm playing with it a little bit, not for my show, but I may do some other things there. But you can for free get 1 gig of storage and 1 gig of bandwidth, and it'll give you a nice player. So it may be worth checking out, or having the kids check out a bunch of different places and have them make the decision for their podcast.
Yeah, and honestly, like, these kids know that they're going on to a school where I'm not going to be supporting them. I haven't told them that I'm going to middle school next year, but I'm also not going to their middle school, so I won't be there. The good news is that Dan will be there, and I'm sure he and Rebecca will be able to help them in any way that they need. And I have no doubt that these kids will continue and go on to be creators, which when you and I met, Chris, that was your goal, right? Like, to stop curating content and start creating your own. Like, these kids are gung-ho creators. They remind me of John Mason, right? Like, get me a microphone. I bought 5 microphones. I've got a couple of mixers, and I'm ready to go.
Hashtag where's John Mason? Okay.
John,
but yeah, that's great for... maybe I'll have to do a springtime reach out.
Again? Take 2.
Right? I miss him.
Who?
Hey.
So AJ, I saw your phone a second ago in the screen. What type of apps? What are your favorite apps?
On my phone?
Yeah.
Oh God. You know, podcasting or personal?
No, yeah, whatever you seem to be using a lot.
Nuzzle.
Yeah.
It seems to be my new one. I get all these different articles. I like to kind of collect articles and read them whenever I get a chance. All the Google stuff. Use a little DraftKings this weekend for some of the golf. But
it's because you don't live in New York, so
right.
It's okay.
Well, I did use that. And let's see, what else do I have here? My favorite apps like Netflix, Kindle, Evernote. Like, those are my go-to.
Yeah.
Voxer. Words with Friends. And Overcast is on there too. So
You still play Words with Friends?
yeah,
Is that a thing still?
I don't know, but keeps me interested.
You have enough people to play with? What?
Yeah. There's 16 games waiting for me right
friends?
now. No, I don't have any friends. No. There's just people who play Words with Friends with me. Let's just say words with people you don't really know.
Words with strangers. It's all good.
I don't want to call them strangers because they're not really strangers, though. I downloaded a new one today, Book Grabber, because Star Saxene was promoting her book, or Mark Barnes was promoting a book. And it was a free book, so I grabbed it. And now I got the app Book Grabber. Hacking assessment.
You know, I saw the cover of her book. She missed the boat.
I don't follow.
The cover
Is that
sucks.
because she didn't hire you?
The title of the book should have been Sacking Assessment.
Yeah, but it's the whole thing, though. There's a hacking assessment, hacking leadership. I know. But it's
all about branding.
Not just her, though. There's a whole bunch of things that follow.
Her book, her name is the only one on the bottom of the cover.
Yeah, but hacking assessment is... Oh, it is her book. All right, so hacking assessment is hers, but there's other hacking books.
That's great.
Hacking leadership.
And she should have wrote it independently and titled it Sacking Assessment.
Oops.
But wait, what app are
Hacking
you
anything
using to
is
find
not
this
appropriate.
guy?
Book Grabber, I think you said.
Book Grabber.
Book Grabber?
Yeah.
Thanks, Dan.
It's
I didn't say hop in the sack.
just sacking. Just doesn't sound. It's GRABBR. Grabber.
Oh, that's right. You're a Jet fan. You don't like the word sack.
I was a Jets fan. I wouldn't like the word loss, but I have to deal with it.
The Bears suck too, so. And it seems like you like our players.
Yeah, that's the going trend. We're just taking all the guys that the Bears don't want anymore, and hopefully we can do something with them.
That's
The Jets.
not gonna
I would take your quarterback. I'd be okay with that.
You could have them.
I'd be okay with that. Right now, I don't have one, so I would use him.
Yeah, I would put a punter in his place.
That's all right. It's baseball season, so I'm good.
Hey guys, I have a question for you. Simon wants to know if anyone is using AWS for podcast hosting. I know, Chris, you use Libsyn, but
Yeah,
What does WS? I also use. I use Libsyn. Daniel uses Libsyn. What is WS?
AWS. I'm gonna Google it.
Oh,
Amazon Web Services.
That can get really expensive. Yeah, sure. It's like a penny per gigabyte download. But then if your show explodes, you are going to be paying a boatload of money.
How do you recoup that? There's got to be a way. Like Amazon.
Not every show makes money.
So that was one of the disappointing things. I was listening to the podcast that I recommended earlier, and all of a sudden there was a commercial in like episode 5 or 6, and I was just like, oh. And have you noticed that, Chris, with the 5 a.m. Miracle, that he is like totally throwing those commercials in your face?
I love Jeff, but I'm going to throw him under the bus right now. He had no ads. It was like entrepreneur, promote your own products. Awesome.
And it was clean.
Now you get, I'm okay with ads, but don't give me 2 ads at the beginning of your show, then do your intro, and then hold on. And then after you do play the intro, then come back and make it sound like now you're going to do it live to just say, hey, I just want to tell you a little bit more about the sponsors. And you repeat your pre-recorded sponsor role from 30 seconds earlier.
That's kind of
Don't
lazy.
do that to me.
Yeah, that's lazy.
And then hit me with sponsors in the middle and then again at the end. Great that you're making money, but there's no deal should involve sponsor, intro, sponsor content.
No. And I'm okay with, sponsors throughout the show. I actually am. I listen to that silly podcast called The Pen Addict, and they talk about pens. And I Instagrammed that picture today of how I used up my favorite pen.
I can't laugh because I've said forever there's a podcast about everything. So God bless you for finding one about pens.
I don't mean to laugh.
And this one is about pens. And it's honestly, Chris, they are recording their 200th episode next week.
Just about pens?
Pens, paper, fountain pens. Like, I can't explain it. And for me, it's fascinating. I went back to episode 1 and I totally listened from the beginning.
Wow. How long is the show?
Yeah. What's that?
How long are their shows?
So they started out relatively short, about 30 to 40 minutes, and they sometimes go an hour to an hour and 20 minutes about pens.
Wow.
And they have no more than 2 sponsors. And what's really cool is that when they talk about their sponsors, they talk about their sponsors in a really personal way. It's not like, hey, this podcast is brought to you by Audible, or this podcast is brought to you by, by MailChimp.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like this pre-recorded thing. It's like, hey, this podcast is brought to you by people who sell pens. And like, look at this really great offer that they're giving to you, the podcast listener. And then they talk about like that offer. Does that make sense? Like, I just feel like it's a really authentic way to connect and talk about pens a little bit more.
They do a good live read.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, it's very well done. Very rarely do I fast forward through that part of the show.
I attempted that in the latest episode of the House of Ed Tech that AJ and Adam Schoenbart were on.
I don't know what you're talking about.
How'd that go?
I think it went well. You'll listen to it tomorrow, I'm sure.
Yeah, I have to catch up.
After we came out of our featured content, which was talking about things that you can do after going to an ed camp, then I said to Adam on our call, I said, and speaking of what happens after ed camp, you want to find out when the next ed camp is. And you're the founder of the education calendar. And so we talked about that. So it was like, nice. That's free, but it's like his baby, his thing. And we just talked about it.
See, but for me, I consider that more plugging a guest than actually having a sponsor. Does that make sense?
I could just as easily turn around and say that the House of Ed Tech is brought to you by the education calendar. Go to the educal.com for all your future PD learning needs.
But you wouldn't do that.
No, because he's not paying me. No, I'm kidding.
But like even the running podcast I listen to, and I will say I fast forward through some of that too, but the running podcast I listen to, they talk about athletic apparel that I'm interested in.
Sure.
Now, I'll say I've never bought anything from Saucony except for a pair of running sneakers. I think they're Saucony. I don't know.
I gave Harry's a try, the razors. I mean, you can't tell here, but
yes, and so that's part of that's actually they advertise that too.
Yeah.
And I listened, and it's funny because I listened to that because the hosts make it relatable. Does that make sense? Like he talks about how his wife steals his shaving products, and I'm like, well, if she's stealing it, then it might be worthy of me trying it out or getting it for my husband.
Harry's for the women.
Yeah.
They do? No, they don't.
Yeah.
What's that?
You can get a pink handled Harry's razor. They say it's great for women too.
I didn't see that pink handle when I went on there. I got the orange one, and
now I am a Harry's user, but that wouldn't fit my show. I don't think.
And it doesn't fit their show either. What the hell do pens have to do with shaving?
People need to shave.
Exactly. Everyone shaves. That's why you get them, Chris. If you're a user,
I don't know if everyone shaves.
You pointing to me?
According to my perspective, yes.
Yeah. Thank you, AJ. That's much more accurate. Here,
I don't know.
I'm about to give you 200 props, and you're going to go past Chris as a result.
Thank you.
He's neat and trim.
I only shave
me
once
too.
I do, but I should shave more. But that's a whole other podcast, I guess.
Oh,
you should have me on your shaving podcast. I would like to talk about that.
There it is. Forget baseball, Chris. We'll do one about the razor blades.
You could have the Inventors of Harry on there.
The Inventors of Harry. Okay.
So I hear about MeUndies so much too. I'm considering giving them a try.
You are really giving me a little
props. I told you what I do. I'm trying to be an excellent communicator. I said you're going to pass Chris, and you will, and you did. You're welcome. Thanks for accurately pointing me out. No problem.
No problem.
I want to accurately point out your accurate pointing out abilities.
But it's funny, Chris. You always point to the wrong person.
I'm pointing based on my perspective.
But if I'm pointing this way, I
go this way.
Like Stacey,
you're below me.
No, if you're pointing that way, you're pointing to the question box in my world.
See, that's so weird.
You're pointing to Stacey, Chris. This is where we come to.
Stacey's below me. AJ's this way.
No.
Here we go.
AJ's
no.
Up there. He's top right.
I'm over here now.
AJ's in the corner.
I'm next.
Oh.
See, if I go this way, this is you. This is Dan.
That's Dan.
Stacey.
Oh. No, you're wrong.
That's AJ. Or that's Chris.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, on my screen, I'm in the upper left.
Yes.
AJ is in the upper right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'm just pointing in the wrong spot.
Yeah. You're
AJ.
There you go.
Stacey.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now you're tired.
You get a prop. I'm not doing. Oh, you beat me.
I like how Peggy's like, bingo. Wow, this is really bad. This all needs to be cut because I'm not celebrating a year talking about what box we're in, like we're the Brady Bunch.
Well, do you want me to play the outro music and we can put a bow on this one?
Yes, because I still have to do my 100-day project.
Okay.
Do you guys hear the music?
No.
Nope.
Do you?
What kind of podcaster are you?
I can.
He hears a lot of things in his own mind.
Maybe that's because maybe your headphones? I don't know.
What the hell?
Why don't you sing what you hear?
No, it's
Simon said try
Hum it.
Right. Press
Hum it.
play.
Hum it.
What are you playing?
Can you maybe like tap it out? Like,
hold on.
And I love that Dean's been here the whole time, hasn't commented, and it's still in this chat. Justin at least left. Simon, how's Australia?
mm-hmm.
You guys don't hear any music coming from me.
None.
Not really well.
Oh, it's autumn.
Oh yeah. It's funny.
Hear music now. Can you get in trouble for doing that?
You get 20 seconds, don't you?
You get 20 seconds? How does it work?
don't know. Radio shows get 20 seconds. And they can't do anything more after that.
Nothing for me.
I don't know though, because one of the podcasts I listened to, I don't think they ever played more than 20 seconds, and they've gotten sued twice at least.
Get out. Shout him out.
Because I've heard Dan Miller's show, and he in Entre Leadership with Dave Ramsey, and they're using like legit songs that I recognize. I would love to do that, sing along or whatever.
Same thing with my running podcast, but AJ's right. I think there's like a certain number of seconds that you're allowed to use. I think it's like under 30. Is it 20, AJ?
I thought it was 20, but
Are there any lawyers out there in the live chat?
We're not lawyers.
Share the last
They
30 seconds, yes, and describe the moment.
They talk about the idea of fair use, but I mean, you can get nailed for even 1 second. But if you're doing like a review, you could play a whole song and then talk about it.
Really?
Oh, so there you go. That's what you can do from now on.
But you can't just play a whole song to play a whole song. You can't use a copyrighted music as your theme song because then it's for branding.
Mm-hmm.
No, the running podcast I listened to, they kind of like tied into whatever the motivational point of the conversation is. I think they suspect that people are listening to their podcast while they're running. I don't know who those people are, but they're insane.
All right. Well, I'll add the music after the fact. So,
Right.
Daniel, thanks for joining us tonight.
I wish people could see Daniel. That makes it so much better.
You can on YouTube and betterleadersbetterschools.com.
Fantastic. And now we know where to find you. You've taken care of that part of the show. Dan, do you go by Daniel or Dan?
Everybody calls me different stuff, but my family calls me Danny.
Oh.
So people call me Daniel, they call me Dan.
Considering.
They call me Danny.
When you introduce yourself, you say, "Hi, my name is."
Normally Daniel, because I don't know if that person will be a friend yet.
So Daniel, our son's name is Daniel. We call him D Money.
People call me that, D Money. Yeah.
Stop it, Jim. This is Daniel. They call him D Money.
I would call him D-Man.
My wife says no. My wife says
So
right now.
last name is Bauer. People call me Bow Dog, and then they bark like a dog. Bow Dog, woo woo. That type of thing. So
D bow wow wow yippee yo yippee yow.
yeah, D Bauer in the
Wow.
mother house. Oh, you thought I was in a cuss? You up there? You up there? You over there?
I was still trying to get over Chris's version of rapping, whatever that was.
Oh, you say it like
Merry
you've walked
Christmas
8
Eve.
miles.
Why don't you say we blow the candles out on this party?
Good night, guys. Too fun. All right, see you later. See you.
Bye, Daniel.
Thanks for joining us, Daniel.
I'm calling him Dan. I don't know.
All right, I'm Chris. I host the House of EdTech podcast. Check with me on Twitter at Mr. Nessie, and check out the House of EdTech on chrisnessie.com. AJ.
I'm AJ Bianco. I was a guest on the House of EdTech podcast with Chris Nessie and Adam Schoenbart. Just kidding. No, 7th and 8th grade social studies teacher, AJ Bianco here. Find me on Twitter at AJ Bianco. And my blog that I continue to try to write but run out of time is at ajbianco.me.
And I'm Stacey Lindis. I am a teacher resource specialist in a 4-5 building. And a year ago, I wrote a blog post. And these two knuckleheads, who are my co-moderators, convinced me to take a leap of faith and start a chat. And here we are a year later on Blab. We're still on Twitter. And we love each and every one of our participants each week. And I thank you so much for supporting me in this journey, gentlemen. And people who participate with us each week, I thank you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy anniversary, guys.
Happy anniversary, guys.
Happy anniversary, guys.